Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Paul Thomas. This evening, we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ+ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
HOTspots magazine, Happening Out television network, is a non-profit 501c3 corporation on the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latinos, lesbians and queer women, trans students and youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, HOTspots magazine and Happening Out television network.
Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
Let's welcome anchor Rajee Narine-Singh, a famous transgender activist, actress, author, mystic, and reality TV personality. She is of multiracial descent and has appeared on more than 35 television shows across the globe. Welcome, Rajee.
Great to be here. And you said my name wonderful.
Did I? Let's welcome anchor Rick Karlin. Rick is the arts and culture editor for Out South Florida. Prior to relocating to South Florida, he was a contributing editor, columnist for a variety of LGBT papers in Chicago for 30 plus years. Welcome, Rick.
I am so happy to be among such an esteemed panel.
That's very kind.
Okay,
Right?
and some candy.
We like it. Let's welcome anchor Bonnie Builder. Bonnie is the premier South Florida bodybuilding drag queen. A recent graduate of FIU, congratulations. She comes to life with a microphone and a spotlight. Welcome, Bonnie.
Howdy. Happy to be here. Thank you all so much for having me.
We're glad you're here. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 9 books. His entertainment coverage, including celebrity interviews, runs in a variety of print and online publications. Welcome, Gregg.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here, and especially happy for the first time to share the table with my husband, Rick. This is quite an honor. And if everybody's available tomorrow night, one last time, I'm going to promote this. Julie Marie Wade will be at Wednesday Night Pros Club at Aperitivo at Bona in Wilton Manors at 7 p.m. You do not want to miss this. Thank you.
Fantastic. Now you all know where to go tomorrow night.
That's right.
We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Tuesday, October the 10th. Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Visit Lauderdale presents the Florida International Boat Show, October 25th to the 29th.
Dreaming of excitement and sophistication? Then set a new destination to the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. Experience over 1,300 meticulously crafted vessels, from opulent super yachts to center console fishing boats and cutting-edge electronics and accessories. Every corner of the show reveals a masterpiece of design and engineering. Experience the world's largest in-water boat show over 7 locations, October 25th through 29th. Tickets at flibs.com.
No matter the time of year, Greater Fort Lauderdale always has fun in store. From a mouth-watering month-long dining event to a 5-day luxury boat show, there are plenty of annual events and festivals sure to delight everyone under the sun. Like the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, the world's largest in-water boat show returns for its 64th year, covering nearly 90 acres and 3 million square feet of exhibit space. The 5-day event, with show locations at 7 venues throughout Fort Lauderdale, will feature educational seminars, a super yacht village, aquatic demonstrations in the Aqua Zone, and more. The annual gathering provides marine enthusiasts an opportunity to explore the performance, design, technology, and architecture of 1,300 plus boats. You can find out more at visitlauderdale.com. Visit Lauderdale, everyone under the sun. Visit Lauderdale. Boy, that looks like a lot of fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been to a couple of the boat shows down in Miami. It's really amazing. It's amazing how they even get them all here. Like, the whole thing is pretty amazing.
Well, it's a boat. It's on water.
Well, not how they, but I mean, it's a lot of boats. It's a lot of boats, and they come from far and wide to be here.
Well, for me, it's kind of like the start of season. I don't know why.
Okay.
Like, when that happens, I just feel like, okay, we're getting into season now.
Right.
All
And
the
I
rich
think
men are coming.
yeah.
Ready your yacht.
Exactly.
Wow.
Words in my mouth.
And she loves water sports.
No, this drag queen is drag queen only. I do love being on a boat, so if you have one, invite me. I won't charge all that much to perform. Slick.
Well, I'm more of a landlubber myself, but as Miss Jean Brody said, for those that like that sort of thing, that is the sort of thing they like.
Yeah. Okay.
And it is.
Well, let's queer up the courts. Court dismisses lawsuit by former Fort Lauderdale police chief fired for too much diversity. Larry Scarato, Fort Lauderdale's first gay police chief, pushed for diversity in the upper ranks, but was fired 6 months into his job, and claims that he made promotions based on the color of the candidate's skin. During his tenure, Scarato promoted 15 officers. 9 were white men. The other 6 were minorities by ethnicity or gender. Scarato 50 filed a federal lawsuit in March seeking damages approaching $10 million for what he called a breach of contract and wrongful termination. The lawsuit said that Scarato, who had been tasked early on with bringing further diversity to the department, got warnings from both Mayor Dean Trantalis and City Manager Chris Lagerbloom that he'd likely face pushback in his efforts to promote and hire more minorities. The lawsuit was dismissed by District Court Judge William Dimitrioulas in late September. Though the court dismissed Scarato's claim of wrongful termination, it gave Scarato and his attorneys an October 6th deadline to amend the civil rights violation claim. It has not been revealed if they have chosen to done so. Scarota was a respected officer and hailed by city leaders as an agent for change. Well, it seems to me he was just doing the job he was tasked to do. Mm-hmm. But I looked up Lagerfeld Bloom on the thing. He is the whitest man I've ever seen next to me.
And you're see-through, so
yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting. He's gay. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you would think that him being gay, he would make an effort to be even more diverse, you know, because it was 9 or 10 white men that he promoted. So I don't know, but you know, it speaks to like, just because you're gay or whatever, lesbian, trans, you can still have your like biases. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think they're subconscious. Like you may not even realize you're being biased about something.
Right. You know, the part of the story that really bothered me is they said they're upset because they think that he hired people based on the color of their skin. And I'm thinking, but white men have been hired based on the color of their skin forever.
Right.
Yes.
Right. You know, that's how they got hired, right? You walk in, you're a white man, you get the job. You don't have to be good at it. You don't have to be, you just get the job.
Right.
Right? And this has been throughout history. Now when we try to correct some of the errors of the past, people still have a problem with it. This poor guy lost his career over doing his job. This is ridiculous. And the judge threw it out. I mean, I hope he brings a bigger civil rights claim. And if he has to go outside of the state of Florida and go federal, then do that. But don't sit home and put up with that type of treatment.
No, but it sounds like it was like a no-win situation right from the start.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, he was tasked with bringing more diversity, and then he was warned by the mayor and the city manager there was going to be pushback. I mean, it sounds like a catch-22 to me.
Well, when I first heard the story, I have to admit, I thought he got into trouble because he had promoted too many people of color. That's initially, before I read the story, I was thinking he got pushback because he put too many Black and Latino people in, you know, and so.
And the worst part about that is, Fort Lauderdale keeps calling itself this great diverse city, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as someone tries to do the right thing, even when it's their job, you see the realities, right? So what they market for tourism is not the reality
we want the
of what people live here.
We want the police force to be a reflection of the community. It should be like we pick people from our own land to police us and keep us in line and protect us.
Let's not get on the police. I think they all need a bit of a revamping, okay?
Let's get into the
system,
I'm with that.
So next, let's
Before we get too far into
right.
Let's queer Pell. Nebraska lawmakers says patients report pharmacists wrongly denying gender-affirming medications. A Nebraska lawmaker says her office has been contacted by families who have reported some pharmacists are wrongly refusing to fill prescriptions for gender-affirming medications for their transgender children, citing a new state law limiting the ability of anyone under 19 to get puberty blockers or gender-affirming hormones. Omaha Senator Megan Hunt sent a letter to the state chief medical officer, Dr. Timothy Tesmer, asking him to inform all Nebraska healthcare professionals, including pharmacists, that the new law specifically allows minors who were already receiving those medications before the law took effect to continue that treatment. The law, often referred to by its bill name of LB 574, also bans gender-affirming surgeries for trans youth under 19. It took effect at the beginning of the month. Tesner, who was appointed to the post weeks ago by Republican Governor Jim Pillen, released a set of emergency regulations. So until permanent regulations could be adopted, which is expected sometime after a public hearing is held on the final draft in late November. Those emergency regulations came after families, doctors, and some lawmakers said they had largely gotten no response from the department when the regulations would be in place. However, Hunt's letter shows that parents and patients are still being denied prescriptions essential for care that were prescribed before October 1st, 2023. Well, I just think it gives people an excuse. You know, you have this new law now, and it's like they don't want to get into the specifics of it. It's almost like, well, the new law says, and that, you know, there's almost like a grandfathering in for youth that have already been prescribed, so it shouldn't be affecting them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's, you know, I think anything to give people the excuse to give us trans community a hard time. I mean, you know.
Well, although I think it's deplorable that the law is even in effect, you have to understand from the pharmacist's point of view that if they give the prescription to the wrong person, they could lose their license. Yeah. So the thing is to get the information out there so that the pharmacists can give the right people the information.
And me being the devil advocate, I'm going to say, well, doesn't the pharmacist have a record of the prescriptions that were dispersed prior to the new law?
But they might not know that that's part of the
worst part
deal.
of it to me is the fact that people are writing laws that are against the medical community's advice and against what medical professionals do. And I wish they would just get rid of all these stupid laws and let these discussions be between a patient and their provider, and people mind their business. Why are you in other people's doctor's appointments? Tell them what they can get and what they cannot get, and telling medical providers, for pharmacists, anyone, what kind of job they can do.
You notice
You're not trained in that.
They never
You're
say
just
that
a politician.
Viagra is going to be banned everywhere.
Thankfully.
Most of them probably need a lot more Viagra.
Yes, they do.
Well, and as I recall, we've covered Senator Megan Hunt of Omaha before on the show. She's the mother of a teenage trans son, and I think Nebraskans are lucky to have such a dedicated advocate looking out for them. So keep it up, please.
Yeah, these laws need to be based off of medical facts and not of your religious bias, and that is the issue. We're not all the same religion, and at some point we're going to realize that and go by that. Maybe not soon, maybe by the time I become an adult and
well, you know,
your guys' age.
Freedom of religion also means freedom from religion.
Exactly, but they don't realize that. They're not acting on that. It's based off of a Bible that not everybody believes in, and it's insane. Let people do their thing medically. Good.
You don't have to have a. You don't have to have a transition. You don't have to have an abortion.
I don't want one.
No one is forcing you to have one.
Right.
But leave other people be.
I like when they say they don't understand it. It's like, you don't have to understand.
You don't have to understand.
That is not required. Has nothing to do with anything.
You don't have to understand anal polyps to know that they need
Exactly.
And listen, it's quite interesting. The group that says less government want to control
the government.
Come on.
All in everybody's
It's always been that way.
Hypocritical.
Yes.
All right, back to beauty. Me. Next, let's queer up HOTspots. HOTspots magazine, on stands Thursday, explores the OUTshine LGBTQ+ film festival. HOTspots magazine's latest edition is set to entertain and update you about the latest events in the queer world. Among many things, this new issue will cover the 15th anniversary of the OUTshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival Fort Lauderdale edition. It is the largest LGBTQ+ cultural festival in the world. The event will run from October 19th through the 24th and will feature 38 internationally acclaimed features and 26 shorts, including premieres and documentaries that inspire, entertain, and educate, along with a variety of parties and special events taking place at various venues throughout Broward County. The festival holds even more value against the backdrop of the current political environment, as Mark Gilbert, OUTshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival Fort Lauderdale Interim Executive Director, puts it, quote, "With the uncertainty of mixed sentiments of all going on in our area today, it is important that our stories are told our struggles and triumphs shown, and that we come together to share the experience. This year's festival will open with the Mattachine Family, directed by Andy Valentine. The film will be shown at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 19th at NSU Art Museum, Fort Lauderdale. The suspenseful drama All of Us Strangers from UK, directed by Andrew High, will be the closing film of the festival. A full schedule of the festival is available at OUTshineFilm.com. And you can find out more about the films, events, and behind the scenes of the festival in the new issue of HOTspots magazine on stands Thursday. Now, I am so incredibly excited about this film festival. Specifically for me, I'm a huge horror nut. Like, I love horror movies. Hence the hat. Hello. I love horror movies, and we have some...
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
you!
Yes.
Well, I just want to make sure.
Go ahead. Go be my guest.
I will take this hat off. You know, I'm
Don't
not
take
wearing
the
no wig.
earrings off,
I'm
then
not
I
wearing
know
a
I'm
wig. It's fine.
in
Let you borrow to cover that bald spot. Anyway, so I'm so excited because I'm a huge horror fan, and there are some unique, incredible, unheard of queer horror movies in this film festival. And I'm so excited to see them because it's, if you want new stories, delve into the queer experience because everything is so heteronormative and based off of how Harry Met Sally or whatever that old movie is. It's just so gotcha. So I'm just so excited for like new stories to be told on film. How do you guys feel?
I love this because more of our stories need to get out there. And you know, it's all about visibility. I think for all of us, LGBTQ plus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been to the film festival many times, and I tell you, I have seen amazing, amazing movies. I walk out and it's like, when did they start making movies this good? It used to be that the films seemed kind of like, oh my God, not another typical gay film. They really, really are delving into the stories, getting to the heart of the real issues, allowing the characters to be like full human beings, express these full range of emotions. They're fantastic films.
Well, a lot of times these festivals are the first chance to see these movies months, maybe even sometimes years before they actually get distribution. So that's a great thing, and we are very lucky to have OUTshine here in our backyard. And it's amazing because it's, you know, it's split in two. There's the festival now in the fall here in Fort Lauderdale. Then there's the Miami edition in the spring. Not a lot of cities have that. That's kind of amazing. And
2 times a year we have an opportunity
really
to watch
lucky
films.
Well, and the great thing is film festivals now, back in the day when I was relatively young, those films were all white boys coming out to their parents or white boys dying of AIDS. Now we get a much bigger spectrum of our community being shown and more stories being told, which only gets our story out there for everybody to see. It's really hard to hate somebody that you know, and if you've seen something and you feel you know a character.
And even the people within the community, they need to see themselves.
Representation.
Maybe they're feeling alone. Maybe they're living in a very unsafe environment. To see themselves on screen and going through things.
The reality is a lot of these stories would have never been told if they didn't have the platform.
Thank you, OUTshine. We appreciate it.
For sure. Next, let's queer up gay culture. Artist Dennis Dean's touching tribute to sister and breast cancer with FayWhat at gallery premiere. Saturday was a moving LGBTQ plus recognition for so many at the intersections of breast cancer awareness and how it affects our queer community. HOTspots, happening out art gallery, hosted the October premiere, and it was emotional as curator Dennis Dean told the story of the passing of his sister to breast cancer. To recreate that tribute, he unveiled a special giant signature photo of gallery opening host and happening out anchor FayWhat. In the photo, she appeared naked, only to be wrapped in a pink ribbon. FayWhat told the emotional story of discovering a mass 2 years ago and then having a complete mastectomy. She discussed how fearful she was on the reveal, as it was the first time she was seen in this way since the cancer surgery. The huge crowd featured speakers representing 305 Pink Pack and the American Cancer Society. There were more than 70 special art installations representing 10 South Florida artists featured by Arts United, a nonprofit arts organization founded to support the local lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community. All of the unique and diverse artists were introduced and discussed their interactions and stories with breast cancer. The event was coordinated by Jameer Baptiste, the projects and events manager for HOTspots Happening Out. The HOTspots Happening Out Art Gallery with Dennis Dean is located in Wilton Manors and is America's only dedicated LGBTQ+ 365 art gallery. This special exhibit was sponsored by Sterling Accounting and the Our Fund Foundation, with catering by Union Kitchen and Bar. The gallery exhibit is free and will be available the entire month of October. Well, when it comes to Faye, there's only two words, and that is brava diva.
Yeah.
We mere mortals are so lucky to have a goddess such as FayWhat walking among us. Now, I missed the opening of the exhibit, but you can be sure that we, my husband and I, will make a point to stop by the gallery this week.
I love Faye. I tell you, and that picture is breathtaking. It really is so beautiful. You know, I remember the first time I met her, like I received so much love immediately from Faye. And whenever I see her, it's been consistently that way. She's such a pillar of our community and a blessing to our community.
You know, we were just talking about the film festival and these opportunities to tell our stories. And there's a great example, right? Faye is up there really bearing this very private, intimate situation that she has gone through, right? And to show that, you know, a lot of time these politicians are talking about, I don't recognize LGBT. Well, guess what? We have families.
Yes.
We're surviving cancer. We're these full human beings, right? I thank her for her courage. To be out in front of the world in that way and to speak her truth in that way and to give some positive hope to other women who may be facing the same situation.
Yes.
You know, that they're not alone. They can talk about these things.
She is a goddess.
That is true. Also, kudos to Dennis Dean for taking that shot. I've worked with him a couple of times, and he is amazing, adorable, professional, caring, considerate, artistic. Obviously, his eye is just so like astute. I'm just obsessed with this work.
Diva. You think he can do a picture of these?
Oh my God!
Do you think he could do magic with?
It might take two cameras at the same time, but I think we can fit it in there.
Oh,
You know what? The camera doesn't lie, but you can lie to the camera.
Exactly. She was a queen in the past life.
And we also love the fact that we have a museum that's showing our art, giving our artists a space to show.
Yes.
365 days out of the year.
Right down the
Really
street in our
appreciate
backyard.
that. Yeah, really appreciate that.
All right. Now, here's a sneak peek of some of the top stories you'll find in this week's Out South Florida.
This week in Out South Florida, powered by Queer News Tonight. I'm Out South Florida senior reporter John Hayden. In this week's issue, will the smart ride on? The community comes together to organize for the future. Also, Pride Lines looks to return to prominence in Miami-Dade County. I talk with their new leader. And make it rain. There's a new Mr. Ramrod, and he has a big year of community and brotherhood ahead of him. I'm John Hayden. Those stories and more in Out South Florida, on stands and online. And follow me on Instagram at John Hayden Journalist for breaking news and live updates.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ Plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up politics. Shocking allegations of homophobia from acting House Speaker Patrick McHenry. Acting House Speaker and North Carolina Republican Patrick McHenry has campaigned against LGBTQ rights, one of the hallmark stances of Congress. And now, out lobbyist Jimmy Williams is accusing the Speaker of blatant homophobia. Jimmy Williams, who now works as a social media consultant, recently tweeted that McHenry once banned him from his office due to his sexual orientation. As expected, the tweet received a strong reaction to Williams' accusation. While Williams' allegation, if true, is a story on its own, McHenry owns an ignominious history of being anti-LGBTQ+, and there are incidents proving this. One incident is when New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that gay couples are entitled to the same rights as straight couples. McHenry's office issued a blistering statement, even though he represents North Carolina.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the USA View. Navy awards hero who stopped Club Q's shooter medal. Thomas James has been awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal for his role in stopping the Club Q shooter who killed 5 people and wounded 19 at the LGBTQ plus club in Colorado Springs, Colorado on November 19, 2022. James, a Navy petty officer, charged at the shooter along with Richard Fierro, an Army veteran. As Fierro pulled the gunman to the floor, James tore the shooter's rifle away and helped Fierro restrain him. A press release from the Navy also praised the presence of mind they both showed, pointing out that in the aftermath, James also gave up his ambulance seat to another victim who needed to be taken to the hospital.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up sports. NHL bans rainbow tape and jerseys in new Don't Say Gay policy. The National Hockey League has reportedly prohibited players from showing LGBTQ plus support by issuing a league-wide ban on pride tape. The new ban will bar players from using pride tape during games, warm-ups, or even practices. As a result, one of the few remaining ways that players can show their allyship has been revoked. The move comes just a few months after NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman confirmed that teams would no longer be allowed to wear pride jerseys during warm-up sessions this season, stating that they were seen as a distraction. He clarified that teams could still host specialty nights, including Pride Night, and create and sell merchandise to support charities associated with the causes. But it seems the league is wagging its finger and warning teams to not go too far.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up education. New state laws mean LGBTQ plus students are left out in sex education. A dozen state or county agencies have parted ways with tens of thousands of dollars in federal grants meant to help monitor teenagers' sexual behaviors and try to lower rates of teen pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases. This trend reflects a shift in many states that is further complicating and polarizing sex education in K-12 schools as some Republican-led legislators more strictly regulate when and what students learn about their bodies. The new laws are part of a broad push to fortify parents' rights and strike LGBTQ plus content from the classroom. Experts are concerned students won't reliably learn about adolescence, safe sexual activity, or relationship violence. These topics are important since sexually transmitted diseases rose after the pandemic and access to abortion is increasingly restricted.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. Turkey's president states he doesn't recognize LGBT. Speaking at the AK Party Congress in Ankara, Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan said that neither his party nor the nationalist MHP allies recognize LGBTQ+. He has also vowed to combat what he calls a perverse trend, which he said aimed to destroy the institution of family in the country. Erdogan and his Islamist-rooted party, AK Party, have toughened their stance on LGBTQ+ freedoms in recent months, particularly while campaigning for this year's elections in May. Homosexuality is not a crime in Turkey, but hostility to it is widespread, and police crackdowns on pride parades have become tougher over the years. His homophobia became more evident when, after the United Nations General Assembly in New York last month, he complained about the use of what he described as LGBT colors at the UN. But in fact, those colors represent the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. That is today's news for the LGBTQ+ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ+ evening news show. Thank you. If our community is important to you.
Our community is important to you. Share this news with your friends and family.
Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience, watching this live LGBTQ+ news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of HOTspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Paul Thomas, and on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Rajee Narine-Singh, Rick Karlin, Bonnie Builder, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you
good night.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.